It's Francie and Simone, and I am here with the YA book hype breakdown of Anna and the French Kiss. If you have not seen my review on it, go ahead and click the video right up here, and you can watch the review first. If you have, let's get into it. Friendly reminder, just in case you are just watching this one and you're not going to click on the other one. My breakdown is based on, is this book solid, cohesive, and in itself quality? This is not based on our subjective opinions on whether we like it, whether we think it does something for the society, whether we think it's culturally relevant, whether we think it's relatable. It has none of them things to do with nothing. This breakdown is 100% based on the fact that this book makes a claim about its characters, its plot, and its world. Does the contextual evidence in this book, you see all them pages? This is all them pages with all these words. Does it back up the claim that the writer, Stephanie Perkins, has made in this book? And that's it. Simply breaking down this book to see if it stands up to what it says. Is it authentic to itself? Now, I do want to say before I start this video, it is going to be full of spoilers, so if you want to watch the review to find out if you want to watch it, watch the review. If you have already read it and you just want to see what I'm talking about, or see it broken down, or be like, I agree, or bitch, you wrong, go ahead and finish watching. So let's talk about Anna. Is Anna an authentic character? I'm going to go ahead and say that I think so, and here is why. So one, this chick is so offensively uncultured, it's not even funny. Actually, it is very funny. She thinks that the French will immediately be able to look at her, tell that she's American, and make judgments about her. And not only is that just like an irrational fear, but it's also an offensive one. And she goes on to say, I just don't want to offend anyone. I hear they offend easily. And then St. Clair goes on to say, you're not offending anyone except me right now. And it's this idea that Anna has that other people are judging her based on her looks and based on all of these other things. And she doesn't realize that by doing that, she's judging the people that she thinks are judging her, because she's assuming that they are so superficial that they would, one, be paying attention to her in that way, and two, that they would come to these conclusions about her in such a quick manner without even getting to know her. And that's a very mean thing to think about the majority of people. Sure, people do that, but once you start thinking that individuals all do that, that's very offensive. And on top of that, she offended St. Clair. He's like, bitch, I'm right here. I'm kind of French. I'm kind of English. I'm kind of American. I'm not any one of those specific things, but you are offending me right now with your ideas about perceptions and your ginormous stereotypes. And I thought that that was a very beautiful and poignant thing that Perkins pointed out. Now, it's not that Anna ever comes to terms with this. By the end of the book, she's never like, oh my gosh, I'm such an uncultured, like, horrible person. I was making all these judgments and statements about people. She never comes to that by herself, and I don't know if she ever will. However, the point of it, that this scene was even there, is just beautiful in itself, and it says a lot about Anna, and it says a lot about stereotypes in general and how we stereotype other people and how we are so superficial sometimes. I mean, damn, Anna. Now, I think this book has a lot to offer as far as discussions on what is culture, what is perceptions, what do having perceptions and stereotyping other people do to us, and what does it do to other people? How do we affect other people and ourselves when we do things like that? Because it happens so often, especially there's a poignant scene where she's with her mom at McDonald's during her Christmas break, and her mom kind of makes this kind of snide comment that you go away for Paris for a while and you come back thinking that you're too sophisticated for the rest of us. And the truth is that Anna has changed, and she has had a different cultural experience, and now the one that she comes back to is, you know, it's almost reflective of who she was. She dislikes Americans almost, as if she's become the French person that she thought the French people were, you know, judging and hating Americans for their loud coloring shirts and, you know, not getting up and looking pretty and nice and stuff. You know, they can't go out looking decent. So she hasn't really changed as far as being someone who's big on perceptions. I mean, that hasn't changed about her. However, the thing that did change was that she did grow in independence, and she was able to see herself, or at least her community, in a different way than she had before. And I thought that was very poignant and interesting, and she's still heavily flawed while she's doing that, and she's not even pointing it out. Perkins did a very excellent job in her not being necessarily reflective on this, so, you know, needing to change, but just showing it. That is so beautiful, showing it without having anything to say about it. But when you know how to show something without making a stance on it, that is some beautiful writing right there. So let's move on to Anna. I think as far as love is concerned, it's all about her being in love and giddy stuff like that. And Let me tell you one thing right now. A lot of people, I think, have a problem with this book. They talk about it being promoting cheating, or they can't stand the cheating aspect, or Anna is just, some other girl and she slut shames and all this other stuff. And I think a lot of people have a lot of strong words to say because they don't like Anna and the way that she handles it. However, as far as being authentic, baby, this girl is on point with that. In my review, I talked about her being self-deprecating, right? About how that kind of says something about her in the sense that she doesn't respect herself. And if she can't respect herself, nobody gonna respect her. And she don't be having them boundaries. She don't be putting boundaries on people, and she don't put boundaries on herself. But based on her relationships in here, we can see why she makes the decisions that she does and why she goes about life the way that she does. Person number one, Toph. Bruh is an asshole, right? Like, he started dating her friend, and he's still over here calling, Annabella, what's wrong, girl? Why you upset? I be doing your friend. I'm having sex with her. Boom, boom, boom. I'm all on top of that. I mean, first of all, disrespect to Bridget. Like, bro, why you gotta be telling everybody we doing it? First. Two, I mean, total disregard. Didn't you kiss this girl before she left? And you ain't gonna mention nothing? Like, obviously, this guy has issues. And Anna even knew that he had issues. He was the type of person that the adults didn't like because he was late all the time or called in sick all the time. So she knows that he's not necessarily a responsible person. But she overlooks it and decides to like him anyways. Or she lets the reasons why she likes him outweigh the issues that he has as a person, which is perfectly fine not to be hung up on somebody's issues, but it's completely different when we ignore someone's issues just so because we like them. So I thought that was interesting. And if you don't believe me, person number two, Dave, I mean, I ain't even got to go into detail about how much of a dick Dave is, right? So Dave is an asshole. I mean, he went around, he lets his friend call her a slut. I mean, the farthest he's ever gotten was slobbering on her. Yet he leads on everyone to believe that they had sex in a room full of a whole bunch of people who were there to know that they didn't have sex. Jeez, Dave. Also, he's trying to get her to cheat on a test in the middle of class and then don't even have their decency or respect to be like, nah, ma'am, I was just trying to cheat. She ain't had nothing to do with it. She was ignoring me the whole time. Like, bruh, you gonna let me hang with you? Like, for real. Because again, Anna, respect yourself, girl. Draw them boundary lines. I don't care how cute you is or that you give me attention, Dave. I'm gonna need you to stop fucking up my grades, Dave. Because she doesn't do that sort of thing, she ends up dating this dude, and this dude ends up, like, slut-shaming her. Like, okay, first of all, if we did have sex, how you gonna call me a slut? Aren't you a slut? Didn't you have sex too? Besides the fact that that didn't even happen, the fact that she was with a person for that long who she had issues with. She was ashamed to be with him in front of her friends. And I think at a certain point, she even says that when they're all sitting around doing homework and he comes over, and she was embarrassed for him and herself. So the fact that she would be with someone like that and she wouldn't draw a boundary line, or the fact that she would enter into that kind of relationship or not end it quickly, means something about Anna. So I don't know why, if we can't connect those two, we look at St. Clair. Now here's where I think a lot of people have issues, especially on a personal level, because St. Clair is never shown as Dave or Toph. He's supposed to be kind of the saving grace, right? He's supposed to be the one that we root for and we like him and he's different. But he isn't. He also disrespects Anna. This dude right here has been dating this other girl for who knows how long, doing her, showing up with frumpy little hair, talking about, ooh, Anna. Like, not only is he disrespecting Anna, but he's over here disrespecting Ellie. Now, granted, I don't know anything about Ellie. She could be just as disrespectful, or she could just be, the sweetest little thing since tacos. Who says that? But case in point, and the thing here is that dude chooses to disrespect both chicks because he's too cowardly to end it with one, or to tell the other one, hey, look, I'm in a relationship and I really like you, but I can't be doing this when I'm with another girl, so I'm gonna need us to have boundaries, or, you to find your own space. Stay away from me and my friends. Like, he needs to have done one of those, but he didn't. And the thing is that this is, again, through Anna's perspective, and she chooses to disregard most of that. She chooses to just think that, oh, well, we're just friends. No, girl, have some self-respect. If he's over here looking at you funny, like, you need to be like, hey, bro, you got a girlfriend. Back up. Or when he shows up in her dorm room all drunk talking about, I like you, is more than just friends. And then, just because his mom's got cancer doesn't mean nothing. Like, he still needs to man up. He's gonna have to man up if his mama died. Like, now, she never calls him out on this, but we can't expect her to call out St. Clair for any of these things when she doesn't call out any of the other guys who clearly disrespect her in many different ways, leading up to, gigantic blow-ups. Every guy relationship that she has in this book ends in a gigantic blow-up because of Anna. Not because the dudes are all jacked up and rude. Everybody's got their own issues and their own reasons for being jacked up and rude. But the only reason why those 3 relationships blow up in her face is because she doesn't respect herself. And that, to me, is the most authentic thing we can get here. Like, boom, 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 boom. This is telling us something about what happens when you don't have boundaries, or when you don't respect yourself or expect other people to respect you, and when you don't respect other people as well. Shit blows up in your face. So when people say that they have an issue with this book about like relationship stuff, like promoting having affairs and cheating, or Anna is super dumb, like those are all justified opinions, because we all have our opinions about people who behave this way. But however, we cannot ever say that it's not authentic, that she was not authentic to herself, because this girl did it 3 different times. Now, another note I want to say on characters, I talked a little bit about St. Clair and I talked about Anna, but I want to say that the only issue I had as far as characters, and you know what, this whole character discussion is actually plot too, so let's just call this the plot character authenticity, for the sake of it, because there's nothing else to talk about plot without character, because this is a plot driven story, right? So the only issue that I had with the other characters is the friends never called them out on their like shenanigan-y bullshit, and they seemed like the type of people, especially Rashimi. Is it Rashimi? Rashimi? What's her name? Damn, I forgot the one diverse girl in here. I forgot her name. Y'all probably gonna hang me for that. And yes, I did just throw some shade. I did just throw some shade on all y'all right there, talking about y'all would hang me. Okay, Rashmi. Damn, I did forget her name. Rashmi. She seemed like the kind of character who would have called them out on what they were doing. Not necessarily in a mean way, but they joked in front of her all the time about Dave, right? So they had no qualms as far as making fun of her, and they had no qualms calling out St. Clair for spending time with Ellie or letting like irritating things come to head. So it seemed to me that they would have had no issue with calling out St. Clair and Anna for obviously flirting with each other when he was still with Ellie. Something sly and funny that your friends say, and you're just like, bitch, why are you gonna say that right now? You just made everything super fucking awkward, and I'm trying to get my hit on right here. Like, it seemed like it called for that kind of a situation, or that's what would have brought the other characters a little bit more to the forefront instead of always being in the background. But then again, it's debatable, because then you have Meredith, who really had a crush on St. Clair, and everybody knew that, and so maybe they were trying to spare her feelings as well. So it's debatable. So let's go ahead and break down the world really quick, because like I said earlier, plot and character are essentially the same thing in that story. And I give it a 10 out of 10, a 5 out of 5 on authenticity, because if anything, it is always authentic to itself. So world, I thought the world was done really well. Again, this is tied to the character a lot, so let's go back and hit on the perception thing that I was talking about, how she stereotyped a lot. And this is all very heavy on how Anna views the world, not as the world is, but how she views it. And I know a lot of people had issues with her being uncultured, because she is offensive, guys. Like, sometimes the stuff this girl says, like, at one point she called somebody in a bowling alley a redneck, who, like, them people didn't wash their hair. She was like, come on with y'all, like, tight ass shirts, y'all are all fat, you wear too tight clothes, you don't be doing your hair, you don't care how you look when you come outside, y'all need to get it together. I was like, damn bitch, you offensive, this is just a bowling alley? Like, come on, girl. I mean, like, every time somebody would come up on the screen and they weren't one of the main characters, or like American, I was just like, let's see it for this stereotype. But you know what? That is authentic to Anna, because that's how she is. She's very perception oriented. I mean, look at why she didn't call out St. Clair on anything, or she didn't really want her friends to know what she was doing. She always constantly had this running dialogue in her head about how silly she might have looked, or how she looked doing stuff, or how she couldn't tell her friends about her and St. Clair spending the night in the bed together, which is juicy gossip you want to share with other people, because, Meredith had a crush on him, and she didn't want the perception of her to change. She didn't want to be the girl that would do that. She didn't want to be the girl that would touch St. Clair because, that's the type of girl. So she is constantly making judgments about other people, which lets us know that she's very, obviously sensitive to judgments being made about her. So I thought that the way that she judges everyone in her world, it's an exact projection of her own insecurity. She's always afraid of being judged about every and anything. That's why she pays attention in school. She doesn't want teachers to think she's a bad type of student. She always wants to be good. She doesn't want French people to think she's a dumb American. She doesn't want her friends at home to think that, she's not busy and having a fun, culture-filled life. She's very big on all these things, and it stuck. So true to her. So to end this, I want to talk about a little bit about this objective authenticity and the subjective. I think all the subjective things and all the reasons why people have problems with this story are mainly subjective. They don't like cheating. They don't like how uncultured and offensive she is. And, all of those are interesting discussion topics to have, but they don't negate the fact that this is actually a very authentic to itself story. Anna is just Anna, and whether we judge her or not or dislike her, that's all on us. It's not on her. She's just who she is, and the world is as she sees it. And you know what? The plot and events of her life are as they happen because of all of her issues. And I think it's beautiful. But I do want to talk about some of the discussions that can be had based on our subjective opinions on it. I think this is a great book to discuss cheating, about the moral ambiguities of emotional cheating versus, physical cheating, the moral ambiguities in emotional cheating. Like, if you are friends with someone and you really enjoy them and their company, and given different circumstances you might be in a relationship with them, is that cheating if you were with someone else? Can you not be friends with them? Is that something that's too dangerous to engage in at all? Or can you to a certain level? It brings up interesting topics of self-respect. They have done those things if she set boundaries. If she said point blank to St. Clair after that first time in the movie theater, look, bruh, you be playing footsies and shit and you got a girlfriend. Either you end it with me and you need to end it with her, or you're with her and you need to start being platonic. Like, I'm cool being platonic and being a friend, but we need to have some boundaries, because I'm not about to be some other chick. I am not a mistress. I am Anna the first, not the second. Like, if she would have said something like that, how would that have changed things? Would he have ended it right then and there, knowing that other relationship was going nowhere? Now, as far as the ending goes with the happily ever after, I think that's an interesting discussion of, will he end up doing the same thing? Because as far as we know, he did take a step forward, but did he change because boundaries were set and he knew that he needed to change as a person? Or did he change because he got caught? I mean, the outside world forced him to change his situation. It forced them to move forward in a way, but they didn't really change internally, did they? They did learn something about their dishonesty and learn something about themselves not wanting to be alone, but that was more of an excuse rather than saying, you know what, I should have had more respect for myself because I really just let you drag me along while you're with another girl. Like, you played me, bruh. Nobody wants to say that. That's the ugly truth, Anna. But nobody wants to say that. Whereas St. Clair, it's like, damn, I'm a fucking coward. Like, as much as I like to pretend like I defend girls on, honor, and I'm a cool dude and everybody loves me, I'm just like my dad. I manipulate people. And from my mom, I figured out that other people's emotions are more important than mine. So I have to put other people above myself, not in a selfless way, but in a cowardice way. So anyways, those are great discussions I think that could be had around this book. I mean, it opens it up to a world of things because, again, it's a story in itself. It's not trying to promote anything. It's not trying to condemn anything. It's just a situation in which you can look at from all angles and you can learn something from if you've analyzed it like that, or you can just enjoy it as it is on a surface level, and it's just beautiful. This is what I mean about quality stories. That's how books should be, and that's what I think the YA section should be very specifically. This book is authentic to itself, whether we hate it, whether we love it, whether it means something to society or not, whether we'll know this book 30 years from now, is completely irrelevant to the fact that this book is whole in itself. And that is a beautiful thing, because when it's whole in itself, it can be read on surface level, it can go deeper, and then it can become something phenomenal. And it has to start with being ready to be on the shelf. And that's what I want for the whole, like, that's, if anybody ever wants to know my purpose, it's just that. It's to find the books that are that and to hold them up, because these are the books that we can love, we can hate, we can say all these things about them, but we know for a fact that it is cohesive, it's coherent, and it's whole in itself. It stays authentic to itself. No matter how it stays authentic to itself, it does. And that's it. That's my promotion. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. If you like this book, I hope you really enjoyed it. If you hated this book, child, I understand, because these people, full of trickery, these people, I'm telling you, they had all them issues in there. And it was low-key, too. It was some low-key trickery, right? Like, Anna didn't get pulled out of her dorm room by her hair into the middle of the street being like, girls, use a hoe. Stay off my man. Like, nobody did that. It was all very low-key. It was all very cutesy. But enough about Anna and the French Kiss. If you guys have any suggestions on what series I should read next, any standalones I should read next, just leave them down below, as long as they are hyped YA books, because this is the YA book hype breakdown / review. So always make sure that you're, giving me some hype books to look at, because especially if you were like me and you love YA, let's start promoting this idea that YA is full of intelligent, brave books that can change the world. They have the potential to change the world based on what's inside of them, but we know for a fact that they are authentic and cohesive in themselves, because it is what we deserve, right? All I'm saying, we deserve shit that is fully put together. That's it. So guys, don't forget to subscribe, thumbs up if you like the video, leave some recommendations down below, and I will talk to you guys later. So TT Wild to talk for now. Bye.